Hey everyone, I am back. So we do have just like 1 minute before class technically begins, but if you're here and you're ready, just take a lie down on your mat, pick a comfortable place where your body can settle. And so for those of you just tuning in to start your practice, you're just gonna take a comfortable lie down on your back. Legs can be straight or knees can be bent. Pick what feels good for you. And as you settle into that space, just take a few deep breaths that are yours. All right, so to get started, you're in your comfortable position on your back. And start by just letting your limbs feel pretty heavy, so bear a bit more weight at the ends of your limbs. Let the heels feel heavy, ankles kind of flop open. Lift your chest a little bit and slide the shoulder blades a little bit closer together underneath you, and then relax the back of your heart down. Take a spacious breath in. And a patient breath out. And do that again. Take your full inhale and just feel the movement through your ribs and belly. And be patient with the exhale, and again, observe the movement in the other direction of ribs and belly. And from here, just really slowly start to internally rotate your thighs. And then let them flop open, externally rotate. So lead this from like the very head of your thigh bone. Small movement, internal rotation of the legs. You'll feel the toes kind of curl in. And let the legs externally rotate, ankles flop open. And then do this a few more times, but let it get a little bit faster. So it's almost like you're shaking your legs, but it's like this internal, external rotation. Just kind of let that be a free, easy movement. And then eventually just stop, let the ankles flop open again. Take a breath in, push the back of your ribs into your mat. Open your mouth, find a sigh. Now slide your feet flat onto the mat so that your knees are bent. And just make sure that your heels are right underneath your knee creases so your shins feel straight up and down. And then slide your arms alongside your body with your palms facing the earth. Yeah. And start by just pushing the back of your shoulder blades down as though you could dome like your middle set of ribs off of the ground. Keep that rooting through your arms and shoulders. Push through your feet, squeeze your glutes a little bit as you lift your hips up. And then slowly lower your hips back down to the ground. So inhale, gentle squeeze of the glutes, like your outer hips are hugging in as your hip points lift. Feel the glutes gradually relax as your bum comes back to the ground. Push through your feet, lift through your hips. Exhale, let your hips come back down to the ground. And do that twice more like that. So press through your feet, hips lift, outer glutes are squeezing in. Lower yourself down to the ground. And then press through your feet, lift your hips up off of the ground. This time pause. Pour your weight into your left foot and your right shoulder and your right arm. Pick your right leg up off of the mat. Find like a reverse table. Now you can keep your right foot lifted or lower it down if you like, your choice. Take a breath in, make sure the hips are still lifted and level. Exhale, lower your hips just to hover off of the ground. Inhale, push through your left foot, pick the hips back up. Exhale, lower your hips back to hover. Inhale, pick the hips up. Exhale, lower the hips down. This time, pick your hips up, outer left glute is hugging in. Lower your right foot down to the ground. And then right away, shift the weight into your right foot and your left shoulder. Pick your left foot up off of the ground. Find that like reverse table. Make sure the left hip hasn't dropped. So hug the outer right hip in and lift the left hip. Stay for a breath in. Exhale, lower your hips just to hover. Push through your right foot, pick the hips up. Lower the hips down to hover. Work the glutes as you lift your hips up. Use your exhale, hips come back down. This time, inhale, lift the hips up and pause. Lower your left foot down to the ground. Stay right here, anchor your shoulders, anchor your feet, and stay for your inhale. Keep the hips lifted as you exhale. And inhale, just reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Slowly roll yourself all the way down to the ground. So hips will land very last. From here, reach your arms overhead, stretch your legs long, and take a full body stretch. Point your toes and reach through fingers. Soften with a sigh. And from here, just bend your right knee. Keep your right arm lifted overhead and just flip over onto the right side of your body. And make your way into a child's pose facing the front of your room. Knees can be together or wide. Pick what feels honestly most comfortable for you, and then just stretch your arms along or stretch your arms forward. Allow your forehead to be heavy. And from here, feel the hip creases, try to deepen back, and then make it active as you reach your arms as far forward as they can go. Feel your elbows lift up off of the ground. Then walk your hands over to the right side of your mat. Stretch your left arm a little bit longer. Try to get heavy through your left hip crease as you reach your left fingers over to the right, so a side body stretch. Send a breath into the left side of your rib cage. Maybe soften the heart, soften the head as you exhale. Then walk your hands back over to the left side of your mat. So this time the right arm stretches longer. Let your right hip crease feel heavier towards your right foot. Stay for a breath in, fill into the right side of your rib cage. Stay as you exhale. Then walk your hands back through center and pull yourself forward into your tabletop shape. Now from your table, start with your palms underneath your shoulders. Pick a distance where the hands can quite comfortably land flat. And let your knees come underneath your hips. Lengthen the front of your neck, so you're looking just ahead of your fingertips. And try to feel that the back line of your body is relatively long and neutral. And then keep the hands heavy, pour your weight into your left shin. Stretch your right leg straight back behind you. Now already notice if your right hip is rolled open to the right side, try to roll the right hip down so that your hips are side by side. Keep the front of your neck long as you breathe it in, so neutral spine. As you exhale, think like a cat, round your knee and your chin in and curve. As you breathe in, look for neutral, so stretch your right leg straight back, gaze forward, so not cow, but just long. Exhale, round your knee into your chest and curve. Inhale, reach the right leg straight back, heel back, heart forward. Draw your right knee in and curve, puff through the upper back. Now send your right leg straight back behind you, neck is still long. Just tap your right shin down to the ground and then switch. Let your right shin get heavy, stretch your left leg straight back behind you and flex the left ankle. Adjust the hips so they feel level. So it might mean like that little bit of internal rotation. Let the left big toe point down. And then take your breath in, get long and neutral through spine and leg. Exhale, draw your knee in to your chest and round, think like your cat. Inhale, stretch the left leg straight back, heart and crown straight ahead. Draw your knee into your chest and round, push the back of your heart up. Inhale, reach the left leg back behind you. Exhale, draw your knee into your chest and curve. Now this time, stretch the left leg straight back behind you. Just tap your left shin back to the ground, find your table. And from here, tuck your toes behind you, take a breath in. Hover your knees just an inch off of the ground. Feel the outer hips try to squeeze it in, and then tone your belly towards your spine. Check out the neck, make sure the head hasn't dropped as you inhale. Lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. From here, take a breath in and pick your heels up as high as they go. Heavy the left heel towards the ground, bend your right knee a lot. Then inhale, pick the left heel up. Bend the left knee, heavy the right heel down. So think like a really slow and mindful pedal. Pick the right heel up, hips lift higher. Heavy the left heel as the right knee bends. Once more, heels lift, hip creases lift. Heavy the right heel as your left knee bends. This time lift both of your heels, bring a soft bend to the knees. Look back at your feet and walk your hands back to your feet as your heels land on the ground. Passive fold at the back edge of your mat. Keep that soft bend in your knees, let the arms and the head feel heavy. And then anchor through your heels and slowly roll yourself up to stand and allow your bones to just gradually stack. And then once you're up, take a moment to find your mountain pose. So kind of situate yourself on your mat. Feel the rooting of your feet. And then just pick a place for your gaze to land somewhere ahead. And pick a place where both the body and the spine feel tall, but also the neck feels quite long in all directions. From there, you've got your full inhale. Feel your heels heavier as you exhale. Now your breath in, reach your arms up overhead. Soft bend in the knees as you fold forward over your legs. Place hands to your shins and reach your heart straight forward. As you exhale, fold, bring your hands to the ground, and then walk yourself forward to a downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, pull yourself forward into a plank pose and just measure it out. So shoulders over wrists, heels over toes. Stay for a breath in. Lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Pull yourself forward and find your plank pose. Tap your knees down to the ground. Bend the elbows, lower all the way to the earth. Anchor the tops of your feet to the mat. Low cobra as you inhale. Hover the heart. Lower the chest back down. Keep the feet actively heavy. Inhale, hover heart and chest. Try to tip the shoulder blades back. Lower yourself down to the ground. Once more, breathe in. Low cobra as you hover the heart and chest. Lower yourself down to the ground. Then tuck toes, push through table and find your downward facing dog. From your dog, take an inhale and stay for your exhale. Now pick your heels up, look forward. Slowly tiptoe up to the top of your mat, take your time. Bring your hands to your shins, take a halfway lift, inhale. Bow and heavy belly towards your thighs. Anchor through your heels, reach the arms up as you stand tall. Slide your hands down to your heart. Take your breath in. Drop the arms, breath out. Inhale, stretch the arms tall. Bow and fold forward over your legs. Hands to your shins, halfway lift. Plant your hands, step your left foot back, then your right foot back. Find your plank pose. From your plank, one breath in, look ahead of your fingertips. From knees or toes, lower all the way down to the ground. Anchor the tops of your feet. Low cobra just once. Pick the heart up. Lower yourself down to the ground. Tuck toes, push through plank or table. Find your downward facing dog. Take one inhale. Try to heavy the heels down and back as you exhale. Now pick your heels up, look forward. Tiptoe slowly to the top of your mat. Take your time. Once you land, hands to shins, halfway lift. Bow and fold down over legs. Anchor through heels, reach the arms up as you stand tall. Slide hands down to your heart. One breath in. Exhale, arms will drop. Once more like that. Breathe in, reach your arms tall. Bow and fold forward over your legs. Hands to shins, halfway lift. Plant your hands, right foot back, then left foot back, find your plank. Look ahead of your fingers, front of the neck is long. Option chaturanga, lower any amount. Wait for your breath, then back bend, cobra or upward facing dog. Lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. One full inhale. Reach the hip creases back as you exhale. Now pick your heels up, look forward. Step to the top of your mat. Halfway lift and stretch your heart ahead. Bow and fold down over your legs. Press through your feet, reach the arms tall overhead. And just slide your hands down to your heart. One breath in. Arms drop, breath out. Now lift your arms up as you inhale. Utkatasana, bend your knees and slide your bum back in space. Push your heels firmly down to the ground and try to lift the front of your pelvis up. And then stretch your arms as tall as they can go. Really reach, take your breath in. Bow and fold forward over your legs. Hands to your shins, halfway lift, heart forward. Plant your hands down, step just your left foot back, tap your left knee to the ground and untuck the back toes. Reach the arms forward and up and find your low lunge. From here, push the right foot down, pick the front of your pelvis up so it's like you're kind of lifting out of the depth of the lunge. Then bring your right hand onto the front of your left hip and kind of tug the left hip forward slightly. You should feel the right hip crease pull back a bit. Keep that as you inhale, reach the left arm tall. Side bend over to the right side of the room. Now notice if the hips tend to collapse, keep the right hand pulling the left hip forward as you reach over to the right. Then your next inhale, rise up and reach both of your arms tall. Tense your fingers down on either side of your front foot. Tuck your back toes behind you, but just pause there. Then straighten the front leg any amount, half Hanumanasana. Pull or flex your right ankle so the toes are going to pull towards your face. Hug the outer right hip crease back. Now take your breath in. Bow any amount over your right leg. And do that again. Your inhale. Little bow as the right hip pulls back in space. Now rebend your right knee. Plant your hands on the mat. Left toes are still tucked as you pick the left knee up off of the ground. Spring step to the top of your mat. Take a halfway lift as you reach the heart forward. Bow and fold down over your legs. Utkatasana, bend the knees, reach your arms forward and up overhead. Feel the heels heavy, try to pick the front of your pelvis up. Imagine hugging the outer hips into center. Then breathe in, reach up through your arm bones. Bow and fold forward over your legs. Hands to your shins, halfway lift. Plant your hands down and step your right foot back behind you. Tap the right knee down. You can untuck the back toes. Reach the arms forward and up for your low lunge. Start by anchoring the left heel a lot. Try to pick yourself up out of the lunge. Then use your left hand. Grab onto the front of your right hip. And then gently tug or hug the outer right hip forward. Feel the left thigh bone pull back in its socket. Keep that. Reach up through your right arm as you inhale. Side bend any amount over to the left. Keep the right shin heavy as you breathe in. Keep your reach as you breathe out. Now rise back up, reach both of your arms up to the sky. Touch your fingers on the ground on either side of your front foot. Tuck the right toes behind you just for like balance. Then straighten your front leg any amount. Flex the left ankle so the toes are lifting off of the ground and pulling to your face. Hug the left thigh bone back in its socket. Take a breath in. Bow any amount over the left leg. Again, your breath in. Bow any amount as you exhale. Then rebend the left knee, plant the foot. Hands are heavy on the ground. Pick the right knee off of the mat. Spring step up to the top. Take a halfway lift as you inhale. Bow and fold as you exhale. From here, press through your feet, rise all the way to stand. Just drop your arms down by your side. So look at your feet, make sure they're like hip width distance apart. I'll face you for this. As you breathe in, lift your arms up towards the sky. And exhale, send your bum back in space. So Utkatasana. Take a breath in. Exhale, just straighten your legs and drop your arms by your side. Again, inhale, bend your knees, bum back, and reach the arms up overhead. As you exhale, just straighten the legs, drop your arms beside you. Once more, bend the knees, reach the bum back as your arms lift. Straighten the legs and drop your arms by your side. A little different, this time bend your knees, reach the arms up as you inhale. Pour your weight into your right foot and pick the left knee up as you stand on your right leg. Reach up through your arms as you inhale. Circle your left arm underneath the right. Think eagle arms. Pick the elbows up and try to push the forearms forward. Then your breath in, pick up through the heart and the elbows. Bend your right knee, cross the left thigh on top of the right for eagle. Now straighten the right leg, pick the left knee up again. Exhale, bend the right knee, slide the left thigh on top of the right. Once more, straighten the right leg, lift the left knee up. This time hold it as you bend the knee and slide the left thigh over the right. Hug the outer shins together. Stay for your inhale and for your exhale. Now straighten the right leg, lift the left knee up again. Send your left leg back behind you. Pause as it hovers and reaches as long as it can go. Step your left foot all the way to the back edge of your mat. Lift the heart up for your high lunge. Then unravel the arms and open to the left side of your mat. Spin all 10 of your toes to the left, setting up for a wide-legged fold. Start with your hands on your hips. Breathe in. Bow and fold forward over your legs. Breath out. Now from here, do whatever feels good. So you can just hang the body passively or work on like a really active fold. I like to just kind of move around a little bit. So you can sway the hips side to side, maybe bend the knees a bit. Even kind of play with circling the weight of your body around your feet. But do whatever you're doing for one more breath. And then pause in a place that feels like center stillness. Tent your fingertips onto the ground, probably off of your mat, and reach your heart straight forward, so look for a long spine. Feel your outer hips try to hug in to support you where you are. Keep that as you bring your hands onto your hips. One breath in as the heart still reaches forward. Exhale, press through your feet and rise up. Stack your shoulders over your hips. Spin your right toes to the front of your mat, warrior two, bend the right knee, and then reach your arms wide apart. Take a moment, check out your feet, kind of feel how you've landed. Anchor the heels and the big toe mounds of both. And then purposefully slide your left ribs back slightly. Try to place your shoulders over your hips. You've got one breath in. Maybe relax the neck and shoulders as you breathe out. Now straighten your right leg. Lift your arms up towards the sky. Drop your left hand to your left thigh and side bend to the back wall, exalted triangle. Stay here for an inhale and reach to the right fingertips. Then rise up for triangle. Reach the right arm forward, then down. Send the left arm up towards the sky. Keep hugging the right thigh bone back in its socket and then stretch the right ribs away from the hip crease. Spin your left ribs up and try to lean your left shoulder slightly back. Press through your feet. Exalt your triangle. So rise up and side bend to the back of the room. Bend your right knee, circle hands to the ground, and step back to your plank. And then hold in your plank pose, move your feet so they're mat width distance apart. Heavy both of your hands and then heavy your left toes. Hover the right toes just an inch off of the ground as you inhale. Exhale, pull the right knee into your chest. And still in your plank, just send the right leg back to where it was. Tap the right toes to the ground and then hover the left toes as you inhale. Pull the left knee into your chest as you exhale. Still in your plank as the left leg reaches back. Tap the toes to the ground. One full inhale. From knees or toes, lower any amount. Back bend of your choice. Pick the heart forward and up. Downward facing dog and send your bum back in space. Stay for one full inhale. Maybe sigh as you exhale. Now lift your heels up, look forward. Travel to the top of your mat any way you'd like. Halfway lift as you stretch the heart ahead. Bow and fold down over your legs. Press through your feet, rise up as your arms stretch tall. And just drop your arms down by your side. Your breath in, bend your knees, reach the arms up, Utkatasana. Straighten the legs and drop your arms by your side. Inhale, lift the arms, bend your knees. See how deep you can sit for just a moment. And then straighten the legs, drop your arms beside you. Once more, bend the knees and reach your arms forward and up. Let the arms drop as you straighten your legs. This time, reach your arms forward and up, knees will bend. Shift your weight to your left foot. Straighten left leg and pick the right knee up to hip height. Find your balance. Outer left hip hugs in. Then circle your right arm underneath your left. Find your eagle arms, elbows lift. Push the forearms slightly forward from your face. Your breath in, heart lifts. Bend your left knee, slide your right thigh on top of the left. Go as slow as you need to. Straighten the left leg, pick the right knee up to hip height. Cross your right thigh on top of the left, send your hip creases back. Once more, straighten left leg, pick the right knee up. Cross the right thigh on top of the left. This time you stay in your eagle, try to hug the outer shins in. Anchor your standing heel. Now breathe in, straighten the left leg, lift the right knee up, hip height. Think toppling tree for a moment as you send the right leg back behind you. Stretch as long as you can. Then step your right foot all the way back to the back edge of your mat. Lift your heart for your high lunge. And then just open up to the right side of the room. Spin your toes to the right. Option, reach your arms behind you. Lace your fingers to a fist. Breathe in, allow the heart to lift. Bow and fold over your legs. Now again, this can be something passive if that's what you choose. You can work on a more active shape. Let the thumbs come a bit closer to your bum as the shoulders draw back. You might even sway the hips a little, rock the fists and your arms like a pendulum. And then from here, if you've got the lace of your hands, keep it. Take a halfway lift. Try to stretch your heart forward. Feel the outer hips squeeze it in. Then just place your hands onto your hips. Take one breath in. Spine is still long, reaching forward. Press through your feet as you rise up. And then spin your left toes to the front of your mat, warrior two. So take a moment, adjust your feet as you need so the heels and big toe ball mounds can anchor. Then send your arms out as wide as they can reach. Really stretch from fingertip to fingertip. Intentionally slide the right rib cage back slightly. And then feel your shoulders line up over your hips. You're here for an inhale. Maybe the inner left thigh reaches more forward as you exhale. Now press through your feet, straighten the legs, and lift your arms up to the sky. Drop your right hand to your right thigh and side bend to the back of the room. Your breath in, then rise up, find your triangle. Left hip back as the left arm reaches forward. Drop the left hand down, send your right arm up towards the sky. From here, keep hugging the left hip crease back, like you could almost push your left bum cheek forward to the right side of the room. And then spin your right ribs open across the chest. Now press through your feet, rise and exalt your triangle. So right hand, right thigh, left arm reaches back. Bend your left knee, circle hands to the ground, and step back to your plank pose. From your plank, move your feet to their mat width distance apart. Then get heavy through your hands. Look slightly forward as you inhale. And just firm your weight to the ground as you exhale. Hover your left toes off of the ground. Pull your left knee into your chest. Stay in your plank as the left leg reaches back. Tap the toes down to the ground. Hover the right toes off of the mat. Pull your right knee into your chest. Still in your plank, reach the right leg back behind you. Tap the toes to the ground. Take your inhale. From knees or toes, lower any amount. Back bend of your choice. So lift through the heart, shoulders tip back. Make your way to your downward facing dog. Stay for one breath in. And for your breath out. Now pick your heels up as high as they go. Tap your knees down to the ground. Have a little sip of water and take a child's pose. And even though your kind of big physical movements are pausing for a moment, continue to let your breath kind of take over your attention. Notice how it fills the body, and notice if the way it's moving has shifted from the start of your practice. And if it feels like you have more space for breath or less space for breath at this moment. And then with your next inhale, just start to make the shape a bit more active. So again, feel your fingertips reach forward, pick your elbows up off of the ground, and then pull yourself forward into your tabletop. Now from your table, set it up so that your palms are comfortably flat. Might mean spinning fingers out slightly, and let your knees land underneath your hips. Tuck your toes behind you, take a breath to lengthen the front of your neck. And just hover your knees an inch off of the ground. Now you can stay right here, just work with your breath as you are, or take a full inhale. Reach your right leg straight back behind you, left knee still hovers. Then rebend the right knee, toes tap down, knee still hovering. Send your left leg straight back behind you. Bring the left toes back to the ground, floating table. Once more, reach the right leg straight back, breath in. Rebend the knee back to floating table. Left leg straight back, breath in. Back to your floating table. Then lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Stay here for an inhale. And for your exhale. Now pick your heels up. Look forward and travel to the top of your mat. And from the top of your mat, land with your feet roughly hip-width distance apart. Bend your knees a good amount so your belly can drape down. And then just grab for opposite elbows. Let the upper body feel really heavy. You might even gently sway a little bit side to side. And then eventually find a place that feels like center stillness and let the arms drop. Slide your hands to your shins, stretch your heart straight forward. Bow and heavy yourself over your legs. And then press through your feet. Rise up and grow tall. Send your arms up to the ceiling. Slide your hands down to your heart. Take one breath in. Drop the arms for your breath out. Now this time, reach the arms up overhead and pick your left knee up to hip height. Send your left leg back behind you. Think warrior three. Now from your warrior three, arms can be forward. You can slide your palms to your heart. Try to roll the outer left hip slightly down and try to hug the outer right hip in so you get a little bit stronger. Stay for your inhale. Soften the right knee and tap your left toes to the back edge of your mat. Lift your chest and think a high lunge. So your left knee or your left heel should still be lifted. Then bring your hands onto your hips. Feel the left hip slightly pull forward. Feel the right hip slightly pull back. From here, take a breath in. Feel the torso feel tall. Bend your left knee any amount. See if you can get it to hover off of the mat. And then pick the left knee up. Come back to your neutral. Rebend the left knee. Let it come to hover. Pick the left knee up. Keep the outer right hip hugging in. Once more, as you bend into your left knee, let it hover. This time rise, straighten both of your legs, and then reach your arms up to the sky. Bow and fold forward over your legs. Let your fingers tent on either side of your right foot. Try to heavy your left heel down and back. So not a full pyramid stance here, so your heel probably won't touch the ground. If you want to do that, you can shorten your stance a little bit. Pull your outer right hip crease back. And then bow over the outer edge of your right shin. So try to reach your heart slightly wider of the leg. Stay for your inhale. And stay for your exhale. From here, rebend into your right knee and plant your hands. Step back to your plank pose. Take one breath in. Lower any amount, breath out. Back bend of your choice, cobra or up dog. Downward facing dog, send your bum back. You're here for your breath in and your breath out. Walk your feet so they're mat width distance apart, still in your dog. And then pull yourself forward, find your plank pose. Heavy the left foot in both of your palms. Hover the right toes off of the ground with your inhale. Pull the right knee to your chest as you exhale. Still in plank, send the right leg straight back. Draw the right knee to your chest. Still in plank, right leg stretches back behind you. Draw the knee to your chest. This time, three-legged dog. Reach the right leg all the way back. Step your foot between your hands. Spin your left heel to the ground. And then rise up, find your warrior two, and reach the arms wide apart. Adjust your stance as you need. And then feel the torso grow taller, stack shoulders over hips. Flip your front palm and exalt. Reach your right arm up and back behind you. Feel the ribs stretch from the hip. Rise back up and find your warrior two. Now lean forward, lower your right forearm to your thigh. Circle the left arm down, forward, and then spin the chest open. Keep the outer right hip hugging in and slightly forward to the left as you open up through your chest. Now press through your feet, rise up and exalt your warrior. Reach the right arm up and back in space. Rise for your floating half moon. Reach your right hand to the ground or a block underneath your shoulder. Pick your left leg up off of the mat. Spin your hips open and stretch the left arm up tall. Get as long as you can, so search for that neutral. And find a little squeeze of your outer right hip in. Get stronger on your standing leg. You're here for your inhale. Then look to the ground, lower the left hand to mat or block as your hips spin to face the earth. Cross your left ankle behind your right. So your pinky toe edges of your feet might be touching or close to it. And then let yourself kind of hang passively forward, bend your knees as much as you need to. Hands can be on a block or towards the mat. You can stay right here, or gently tiptoe your fingers or your block over to the right. Push your left big toe ball mound down more. Gently shift hips left as you kind of reach and spin your heart slightly right. And from here, just unwind, so come back through center. Uncross the feet and place them so they're hip width distance apart. And let the body fold and bow. Hands to your shins, heart stretches forward. Bow, belly reaches towards your thighs. And then anchor your feet as you rise up to stand, get really tall. Slide your palms down to your heart. You're here for your inhale and for your exhale. Now reach the arms up to the sky. Pick the right knee up this time. Warrior three, send the right leg back behind you and reach the arms forward or bring your palms at prayer, whatever feels good. Try to hug the outer left hip in, roll the outer right hip slightly down, and then try to reach your belly ahead of your left toes. Reach the inner line of your right thigh back. Stay for your inhale. Soften the left knee and tap your right toes to the very back edge of your mat. Pick the chest up so you're in that like high lunge stance. You might start with just like an automatic little bend in your right knee so the low back feels long. Bring your hands onto your hips and then get intentional with the work in your hips. So try to roll the right hip slightly forward, hug the left hip back. It should already feel like a bit of different work. Keep that kind of hugging in of the outer hips as you inhale. Bend your right knee any comfortable amount. See if you can play with like that hover. Pick the right knee up, come back to your neutral. Rebend the right knee, find that hover. Pick the right knee up, back to your neutral high lunge. Last time to rebend into the right knee. This time straighten both of your legs as you lift. Reach your arms up to the sky. And then bow over the left leg. Tense your fingers on either side of your front foot. You can use a block if the ground is far. Heavy the right heel towards the ground. It's a longer stance than a typical pyramid, so the heel most likely won't touch, and that's fine. Hug the outer left hip back. Then try to bow your heart just slightly wider of your left shin. So it's not like you're moving to the left, but you're just kind of shifting a little bit more intention towards like your pinky toe. And with your next inhale, rebend into your left knee. Plant your hands to the ground and step back to your plank pose. Take your inhale, neck is long. Lower any amount as you breathe out. Back bend of your choice. Pick the heart up, push through your hands. Downward facing dog as you send your bum back behind you. Stay for your breath in and for your breath out. And then widen your feet so they're like mat width distance apart. Pull yourself forward into your plank pose. Get strong through your palms, heavy through the ball mount of your right foot. Inhale, hover the left toes. Pull the left knee into your chest. Spine still stays long. Reach the left leg back. You're still in plank with a hovering leg. Draw the left knee towards your chest. Reach the left leg back, still in your plank. Pull the left knee to your chest. This time, three-legged dog. Reach the left leg back behind you. Step your foot between your hands. Spin your right heel to the ground. Rise up and find your warrior two. Whew. That's difficult to do while speaking. Then take your time to just place your shoulders right over top of your hips and feel the arms stretch truly as wide and as long as you can. And just take one breath in to ground you and lengthen you. Feet stay heavy. Now flip your front palm, exalt. Right hand, right thigh. Reach the left arm back in a way where you're truly reaching and not dangling. And then rise back up, find your warrior two. Lean your left forearm to your thigh, right arm circles down, then forward to the front of your space. Spin the chest open. Keep the inner left thigh reaching forward, front foot is heavy. Roll the right ribs open in space. Now press through your feet, rise up and exalt again. Right hand, right thigh, reach the left arm all the way back. Take your time to rise, reach your left hand to something. Block or the ground, pick your right leg up as you find your floating half moon. Hug the outer left hip in and push your left foot into the mat. And then as though you were standing on your right leg as well, push the right heel into the back of your space. Hug the outer right hip in so the hip rolls open. You're here for your inhale. Lower right hand to the ground as your hips square off to the ground. Cross your right ankle behind your left and fold. Bend your knees as much as you need to, and then hands are either on the ground or reaching for something underneath you. Then you can stay right here if this feels like right on, feels good. Otherwise, move your block or your fingertips like slightly left. But get really heavy to the ball mound of your right big toe and gently shift your hips right. It's like the smallest movement as you reach your heart towards your fingertips. And then wherever you are, just take a breath in. See if you can drop the head as you exhale. Walk your hands back through center if they've moved and uncross your feet. Let yourself bow and be heavy over your legs. With your next inhale, hands to shins, stretch your heart ahead. Bow and fold down. And press through your feet. Rise all the way up as you stand tall. Slide your hands back to your heart. Take one full inhale. Drop your arms as you exhale. Last chance to flow. Breathe in, lift your arms up. Bow and fold forward over legs. Hands to shins, heart forward. Plant your hands, step back to plank, flow, or go right to downward facing dog. Your choice. When you get to your dog, take 3 more spacious breaths that are yours. Use each of those breaths to strengthen and solidify you in the shape. So anchor hands, reach the hip creases back. Allow your head and heart to feel heavy-ish between your arms. Now with your next inhale, pull forward, find your plank pose. From knees or toes, lower all the way down to the ground. And then once you're on the ground, just stack your palms at the top of your mat and let your forehead rest on your hands. And so let this be something pretty passive. With the forehead heavy on your hands, you might look to one side or the other if that feels a little bit better for your breath. But focus on letting the whole or all of your lower limbs feel a bit more relaxed and your breath to take up more space behind you. Now, if your gaze isn't already down, bring your forehead down to your hands. I'm going to keep my forehead lifted just because I don't know if you'll be able to hear me if I speak into my hands, but your head is down on your palms. From here, zip the line of your legs as close together as you can comfortably get them, and then anchor the tops of your feet down as much as you can. And from here, I want you to keep the left foot really heavy, and just float the right leg up off of the ground. See if you could physically stretch the right leg back a little bit longer, and then lower the right leg back down, anchor the top of your foot. Float the left leg off of the ground. Think about leading from the thigh. Stretch it longer, like someone was like pulling on your big toe. Then lower the left leg down. Keep the tops of both feet heavy. Do that again. Pick the right leg up. Hips are heavy, but the inner right thigh is stretching back. Lower the right leg all the way down. Anchor it firm. Pick the left leg up. Inner thigh is lifting more than the outer, and then stretch it longer. Lower the left leg all the way down. And then relax your arms down by your side. Just look off to one side of the room. Take a full inhale. And stay for your exhale. And then bring your gaze back through center. We're gonna build this a little bit. So bring your arms alongside your body, but flip your palms to face kind of your thighs. And then bend your knees without grabbing your shins. So just flex your ankles like you were standing on the ceiling. Anchor your hips into the ground a lot, and then lift your chest off of the ground first. Try to stretch your arms back without grabbing your shins. Can you pick your thighs up off of the ground? Probably only a little as the tops of your feet or the soles of your feet push up. Hug the inner thighs in. Hug the outer hips in and see if you can pick the thighs up a little bit more. And then you can stay right here for your next few breaths, or maybe you can reach back for your shins now and kick your shin bones back as you pick your heart up a little bit higher. Wherever you are, you've got 1 to 2 breaths. And when you're done, lower yourself all the way down. Look to the other side of your room. And then bring your gaze back through center. Press yourself back to a child's pose. And let this be a space where the spine can kind of comfortably lengthen and round forward. So arms are pretty heavy and forehead might relax down to something, be it ground, book, or blocks. And then with your next inhale, just reach your arms as far forward as they can go. And then pull yourself forward into your tabletop. Now from your table, I want you to stretch your right leg straight back behind you. Again, just think long through your spine rather than like back bendy. And then place your right knee right in between your thumbs, so not pigeon, but the knee is right between your hands. Slide your right foot off to the left side of your mat, And then tuck your left knee into the crook of your right knee and slide your left foot off to the side. So we're setting up for Gomukhasana legs. Now, then slowly lower your bum back. This might be the place where you realize that like your book or your block might be really nice under your bum. Otherwise, you can sit all the way onto the ground. And so your knees are crossed right in the center of your body and your heels are kind of pulling off to the sides of your mat. And just sit up as relatively tall as you can. You might stay upright like this, or you might find like a gentle hinge forward, but do your best to keep the hip creases reaching back as you stretch your heart ahead if that's where you're going. You might even kind of drop the head a little bit and let this be a bit more passive through the spine. But notice if your weight has kind of rolled more onto one of your hips than the other. Work to keep both sides of your bum relatively heavy. In this case, imagine hugging your right hip back a little bit more. And at the end of your next exhale, just make your way back to a table. So you're gonna place your hands in front of you, kind of roll back onto your knees. First step your left foot back, then slide the right foot back so you're in your like typical table. And start by sending the left leg straight back behind you. Pull the left knee right into the center of your mat between your hands. Left heel slides off to the side, so left heel is over to the right side of your mat. Then slide the right knee right behind the left and your right foot will hang to the left. And then just lower yourself onto your bum or your block and readjust if you need to. And I should say if this doesn't feel like in any way a comfortable shape, even with the block, you can cross your legs with the left shin in front of the right. And then you can stay right up with your hands behind you just to kind of help you find that height. If you feel like you've got the comfortable space, then maybe you've got this gentle hinging forward, but do focus on pulling the hip creases back so your sitting points are relatively heavy as you find this like fold and reach forward of your heart, and then you can let it be passive. And notice if all of your weight has pulled onto your right bum cheek, try to roll a bit more weight onto your left or vice versa, depending on how it feels for you. And when you feel ready, just slowly make your way out of the shape. So you're going to plant your hands in front of you and kind of pull yourself back onto your knees. Send the right leg back and the left leg back for your table. And then just sit your bum back to your heels. Slide your hips off to the side and swing your legs out in front. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was my grandparents calling. Okay. So at this point, make sure that your block or your book is somewhere close by beside your mat. Bend your knees and let your feet be flat. And then reach your arms straight ahead of you. Take a breath in. And slowly roll yourself onto your back. Once you get onto your back, walk your feet a little bit closer to your bum. And then grab your block and make sure you've got the widest surface of your block or your book or whatever you're using. Push your feet down to the mat, pick your hips up, and slide like the widest area of your prop beneath your hips and let it land at your sacrum, so the flat bone at the very base of your spine. And just start here with your hips quite heavy. Your arms, or allow your arms to be beside you and the palms flip up. And then you've got choices. You can stay right here, or pick both of your feet up off of the ground. Start by just letting your feet kind of dangle towards your bum. And so your knees are right over your hips. And if this feels comfortable, you can stay here. Otherwise, you can send your legs up towards the sky for like a wall-less variation of legs up the wall. Now it does require work for you to kind of keep your legs up in space, but let it be like a pretty lazy amount of work, so allow the sacrum to feel heavy and the legs to almost feel like they're sinking down in their sockets. Whatever option or version of the pose you've picked, feet down, knees bent, or legs up, give yourself upwards of 6 or 7 more really patient breaths. When you feel like you're done, rebend the knees if legs are lifted and lower your feet back down to the ground. Push the feet down to lift your hips, slide your prop off to the side and lower your bum down. And then step your feet so they're mat width distance apart. Reach your arms out to your sides to a T or cactus as wide as your space allows. And do like a really slow windshield wipe of your knees side to side. So even slower than you want to go. And the next time the knees fall left, just keep them there. Maybe look off to the right side of your space if you'd like. And then pick your knees back up through center and let them drop over to the right of your space and look left. And then pick your knees back up through center and re-walk the feet so they're hip width distance apart, and just keep the feet flat, keep the knees bent. Slide your arms alongside your body. Stretch your right leg long, reach your heel to the right corner of your mat. Stretch your left leg long and reach your heel to the corner of your mat, the left corner. And then take a full breath in, fill ribs, belly. Let out a sigh. And then the next few moments of your practice are yours as you settle into an easy and natural pace of your breath. If you've got some more time in your day, stay exactly where you are. If you've got things that you need to do right away, try to give yourself 5 more breaths that are just yours. And then slowly get up and move ahead with the rest of your Tuesday. Thank you all so much for your practice. This has been a lot of fun, and have a great day.